into the air, and then everybody shunting behind in sympathy.
You know, it's another racing incident. You never, I mean, I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose. He just tried to defend his position without thinking what he was doing.
Of the Arco, 2-3 of them out, and one of them is Stefan Johansson, and there's a Ferrari down there, and they're all over the circuit.
Every sport has danger, but motorsport has something far worse. That moment, less than a heartbeat, when a driver realizes they're no longer in control. And then everything just breaks loose. Flames, twisted metal, and drivers thrown across a track that was built to celebrate champions, not carry bodies. These were the crashes no camera could truly capture, the tragedies everyone tried to bury, until now. And by the time you reach the last one, you won't look at a race the same way ever again.
Grosjean and Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton all coming to grief at La Source.
Jules Bianchi. Jules Bianchi was born to race. He rose fast, dominating junior categories and winning Formula Renault multiple times. His talent was impossible to ignore, even for Ferrari. They signed him as a reserve driver and helped secure his F1 debut with the Marussia team in 2013. At the 2014 Monaco Grand Prix, Jules finished 9th, scoring Marussia's first and only points in F1 history. But just months later, everything changed. It's the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix. Heavy rain, a typhoon is approaching. The visibility is awful and the wet track makes control nearly impossible. On lap 43, Adrian Sutil loses control and crashes into the barriers. Marshals deploy a recovery vehicle to remove his car. Then, one lap later, a nightmare unfolds. Jules approaches the same corner at over 130 miles per hour. He doesn't slow down enough. His car slides off at full speed and drives directly into the recovery vehicle. The force registers at 254 Gs, one of the most violent crashes in motorsport history. The top of his car is completely destroyed. The team radios, "Are you okay, Jules?" Silence. No response. His helmet is shattered. Jules was rushed to the hospital with a massive brain injury, but he never woke up. After 9 months in a coma, he passed away on July 17, 2015. But the next tragedy was so devastating that even the surviving driver walked away from racing forever. Stefan Bellof. September 1st, 1985. The 1,000 kilometers of Spa is about to begin in Belgium. Teams of multiple drivers compete for 5 to 6 hours until they hit the 1,000 kilometers mark. Among them is Stefan Bellof, widely regarded as one of the greatest natural talents in racing. 2 years prior, he set the fastest lap ever recorded at the Nürburgring A record that would stand for 35 years. This was a man who lived for speed and competition. On this day, it would cost him his life. Stefan was behind the wheel of the Porsche 956, one of the fastest cars ever built. Near the third hour, he and Jackie Ickx were locked in a battle for second. After a pit stop, Jackie stayed just ahead, blocking Stefan's attempts to pass for 3 straight laps. Then lap 78 happens. Stefan closes in on Jackie at the Eau Rouge complex, one of the most dangerous sections of any racing circuit. He dives to the inside trying to overtake. Their cars touch at over 180 miles per hour. Stefan's Porsche loses control. In a split second, the car is flung sideways toward the guardrail. Jackie spins into the barriers but walks away. Stefan slams into the wall at 130 miles per hour. The impact is so violent, the car is ripped apart and erupts in flames. Marshals rush to the scene. There's nothing they can do. At 4:20 p.m., Stefan is pronounced dead. Jackie Ickx, despite walking away physically unharmed, would never drive in sports car racing again. But not everyone has the chance to walk away. Marco Simoncelli wasn't one of those fortunate enough. Marco Simoncelli was born to race. He won multiple championships and national titles. By 2008, he'd become a superstar in the 250cc class, winning 6 races and 1 world championship. In 2010, Marco made the jump to MotoGP, the big leagues. He earned his first pole and finished second in Australia, but his aggressive style sparked crashes, earning him a reckless reputation. Unfortunately, things would not pan out well. It's lap 2 of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Marco is running in 4th when suddenly his rear tire loses grip. Normally, a crash sends a rider sliding off, but his bike suddenly regains traction, the worst-case scenario. This pulls Marco's bike back into the racing line, directly into the path of Colin Edwards and Valentino Rossi, both traveling at over 120 miles per hour. Marco is hit head-on. The force is so intense his helmet is completely ripped off. Track medics rush to his side. The injuries are catastrophic. For 45 minutes, doctors fight to save his life. At 4:56 p.m., he passes away. This next race could have been a legendary father-son duel, but it turned into a horrible disaster. Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt was a 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion known as the Intimidator. With 76 career wins, he'd conquered almost every major NASCAR event. But for years, one victory eluded him, the Daytona 500. That changed in 1998, when after 20 attempts, he finally won. What Dale didn't know 3 years later, that same race would take his life. The 2001 Daytona 500, nearly 200,000 people in attendance. On lap 173, a massive crash involving 18 cars takes place. Miraculously, no one is seriously injured. The race continued with Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in first and second. Dale is right behind them, blocking other cars to protect their positions. Then, on the very last lap, in turn 4, Sterling Marlin's car makes contact with Dale's left rear fender. It's not a big collision, but at these speeds, it's all it takes. Dale's car snaps right, sending him into the outside wall at 160 miles per hour. It doesn't look like a massive accident. Both cars stop on the grass. In the back, Dale can see Michael Waltrip win with Dale Jr. in second. After 16 years of racing, Mike secured his first win, but that beautiful moment quickly changed. Dale isn't coming out of his car. An ambulance arrives. At 5:16 p.m., Dale Earnhardt is pronounced dead on arrival. NASCAR lost its greatest champion. Just a couple of years prior, the world lost another legend that upset millions. Ayrton Senna. April 29, 1994, the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola. Most tragic weekend in motorsport history. Ayrton Senna, 3-time world champion, arrives early. His team Williams is struggling. Senna criticizes the car for being too difficult to handle. Despite this, he completes the fastest time in practice. During the first qualifying session, Rubens Barrichello suffers a terrifying crash. His car goes airborne at 140 miles per hour. He survives with only a broken nose. The next day, Roland Ratzenberger suffers a front wing failure. His car plows into a concrete barrier at 196 miles per hour. Roland is pronounced dead. Senna is devastated. He meets with Sid Watkins, F1's chief medical officer. Sid says, "You've been world champion 3 times. Give it up and let's go fishing." Senna's response is chilling. "There are some things which we have no control over. I cannot quit. I have to go on." Race day. The race begins. A massive crash forces a safety car deployment. At 2:17 p.m., the race restarts. Senna leads. On the 7th lap, Senna approaches the Tamburello curve. The car loses control. He slides off, going straight into the concrete wall at nearly 190 miles per hour. The right front wheel strikes Senna's helmet. His car slides to a halt. For a moment, his head moves slightly. Then nothing. Medical teams arrive within minutes. At 6:40 p.m., the world receives the news. Senna is dead. A legend was gone. Believe it or not, this is far from the worst disaster motorsport has witnessed. This next case will shock you. 85 people died in this tragedy. The 1955 Le Mans disaster? June 11th, 1955. The 24 Hours of Le Mans. Over 300,000 spectators gather to witness the best drivers of their era. By the end, they'd remember this event for a very different reason. The track features one of the longest straightaways in motorsport, the Mulsanne Straight, 3.7 miles of pure speed. At extreme speeds, safety was minimal. Spectators were separated from the track by just wooden fences and earthen mounds. A tragedy bound to happen. After 2 hours, Mike Hawthorne and Juan Manuel Fangio are battling for position. On lap 35, at 6:26 p.m., Mike signals to pit for fuel and pulls right, braking hard. His Jaguar has disc brakes new technology that stops him way faster than other cars. Behind him, Lance Macklin is caught off guard. He swerves right to avoid hitting Mike but drifts into the racing line. That's when Pierre Levay's Mercedes arrives at full speed. Pierre had less than a second to react. His car hit Macklin's, launching the Mercedes into the air toward the crowd, where it slammed into a concrete barrier and disintegrated. The hood and large parts fly into the crowd like shrapnel. The engine block, over 400 pounds, bounces into the stands, crushing multiple people. Then the fuel tank ignites, but it gets worse. The car was built with magnesium alloy, highly flammable. Firefighters use water, making the fire explode further. Pierre is killed instantly. More than 80 spectators perish. Over 120 are seriously injured. And the race, it doesn't stop. As medical teams pull bodies from the stands, the remaining cars continue. And this next race continued on, though 2 lives were lost in seconds. Tom Pryce. Tom started racing at 20. By 1975, he scored his first podium, finishing 3rd in Austria. During the German Grand Prix in 1976, fuel leaked into his cockpit during the final laps, burning his skin and nearly blinding him. Despite this, he finished 4th. Grit wouldn't stop him from losing his life a year later, the 1977 South African Grand Prix. On lap 21, Renzo Zorzi's car catches fire. 2 young, untrained marshals rush onto the circuit, one carrying a 40-pound fire extinguisher. They run directly into the path of oncoming cars. The first marshal makes it across. The second, Frederick, carrying the extinguisher, is slightly behind. At that moment, Tom Pryce approaches at around 170 miles per hour. Hans-Joachim Stuck, ahead of him, swerves at the last second. Tom has no time to react. He strikes the marshal at full speed. The fire extinguisher flies into the air and strikes Tom's head. His helmet shatters, his skull breaks. He's killed instantly. His car continues down the track, crashing into Jacques Lafitte. 2 lives lost in an instant. But this final case might not seem horrifying, but its ending is truly heartbreaking. Swede Savage. The 1973 Indianapolis 500 is widely considered one of the lowest points in American motorsport history. David Earl, known as Swede Savage, entered the race with high hopes. During qualifying, he was the fastest driver, breaking the track record with an average of 196 miles per hour. But the race was doomed from the beginning. On May 12th, during practice, Art Pollard lost control in turn 1. His car slammed into the wall. He was gone. The first life the race would take. Race day. Rain delays the start 4 times. Finally, at 3 p.m., the green flag waves. Almost instantly, David Saltwalter loses control, causing a massive pileup. His car launches into the grandstand, erupting in flames. Spectators are injured, the race stops, and rain returns. They push it to Tuesday, but the track is too wet. Then Wednesday, May 30th. That's when fate catches up with Swede Savage. On lap 58, Swede's car suddenly snaps sideways at nearly 200 miles per hour through turn 4. The car veers left, slamming into the inside wall. The car, full of fuel, explodes on impact. It completely disintegrates. A fireball erupts. In the midst of it all, Swede is alive. He never loses consciousness. He's talking. Rescuers frantically pull him from the burning wreckage. He's rushed to the hospital. Despite severe leg fractures, doctors are certain he'll survive. This is not a story with a happy ending. 30 days after his accident, Swede Savage dies. It wasn't because of the crash. It was because of a contaminated blood transfusion. A simple mistake made by the hospital. The 1973 Indy 500 was cursed.